Okay, so demonstration is happening. So the next thing we need to do, once we've bagged out both our armholes, I am saving another armhole because in a minute I'm going to do another demonstration when people are more up to that armhole again, because not everyone's up to the same stages. We are going to put our right sides together. So I've got my right side of my front and my right side of my back together. We're going to open out our facing on our side seam so it sits up. So please don't let it flip down and stitch it down. Make sure it sits up. And then we are going to put, because we want these two, this is a junction seam here, our two underarms, and we want them to match beautifully. So we're going to put a pin through our junction seam to make sure it matches beautifully on both sides, not so much. Make sure our cut edges on that cut edges are smooth, and the edges of our facing should be matching. How much tolerance do we have? 2 mils. 2 mils tolerance. Anything beyond 2 mils tolerance we're going to have to fix. So now I've pinned my junction seam. I'm going to go down, I'm going to pin my waist seam. I'm going to pin my hip balance notch. I'm going to pin my hem. All my cut edges together. 1 centimetre seam allowance through the whole thing. Make sure that seam doesn't flick the wrong way when you're going through your underarm. Make sure all my cut edges are matching perfectly. I'm going through, I'm just checking, moving. Right to the cut edge. There should not be any steps in your hem. If all your pattern making was correct, there shouldn't be any steps. So where the hems meet, it should be beautiful and smooth the whole way through. First thing we're going to do before we overlock it is check. Open out that junction seam and check that it is absolutely a beautiful junction. If not, you'll need to unpick it. When we go to the overlocker, what side are we going to put on top as we're overlocking down or up that side seam? Our front on top, absolutely. Front on top. I'm just going to quickly do that. Okay, then you go give it to the iron and give it a really good press. Once you've pressed that seam to the back, we are going to fold that facing down. So seam goes to the back, facing gets folded down. Trim off my end. Okay, give your armhole a bit of a press too so it doesn't sit rough like this, it sits nice and flat. Make sure that they both match these seams down here. Nice and neat pressing on the armhole. Pin right to make sure that the seam, side seam match. Now we're going to do two different versions to back tack and hold our waist facing in place. What did you guys do? What method did you use on your centre front inverted pleat skirt?
You want us to do 2 different ones.
Did by hand?
Yeah, I did mine.
As in a hand
I did
stitch?
mine by hand.
Yeah, let's
But
not do
on
that.
on the sweetheart neckline, you showed us to stitch in the
Oh,
ditch
I did show you
and
something.
also into the
Okay,
side seam.
we're going to do exactly the same thing, please, people. We're going to do 2 methods, one on each side. There should be no hand stitching. We're going to grab, yeah, good memory, because I forgot about the sweetheart neckline. We're going to grab seam allowance, just like we did our sweetheart, and we're going to back tack in the lowest section, 1 centimetre back tack, and then on the other side, pin it, and then you're going to go to the right side, back tack just a centimetre at the lower edge of the facing. I want to see both versions on your sample, please, to hold that facing down. Please get a good press before you do it. Okay, go for it. Go for it, go for it. Yeah, don't want to see any.
What I start doing is when you do fold of it, in there, and then on each side, and then you fold seams, and then do that.
Alright, they
Don't start from one side, start from the kind of pretty like you're the because that way, you know, even if you do have something out, it always shows you which area it is out. You know, in case of the alternativeness in the other areas. Thank you, Johnny. You're welcome. That clock is wrong.
Yeah, clock has stopped. A couple more minutes and then we'll go to coffee.